choking sign gon' make me ski. I ski, yeah, now if you ever get to meet her, better keep a shot about to make a supersonic man out of you. She go below the belt, you better go for half a shot about to make a supersonic man out of you. I wanna be her man. Now I'm a believer. She used both hands. Now I'm a believer.
Few seconds as this game, set, match, the shot, the denial, and no we get overtime.
Yeah, you played Balsamar, so Hunter went out.
Oh, well, yeah, I had to.
Look at Socket, laying in the middle, laying in the damage, going in revenge for their honey. No way!
We do love all the players, even the ones we shit talk. We love you all. We love you all.
Inside the fight, right in there, in deep. Rain Boss has arrived. They're taking up all the damage. You can flew your.
We're winning the whole thing this year. Mark my word. EVU, Ohio, Northern Northwest, hey, every single one of you, get ready. Be locked in.
Why? Those don't go in. It goes off the sidebar.
So tiring and stressful, but no, I had so much fun. We met a lot of really great teams. And then bond as a team together.
Unified welcomes you to the following presentation of the Midwest Esports Conference. Here at the MEC, we partner with schools all over the Midwest to create premier gaming experiences. Welcome to the MEC. Enjoy the show.
Hello everyone and welcome to the MEC. It is Mac and Mech back for another Monday night of CLOL action. I am super excited and wishing everyone a very fun, very green St. Patrick's Day. Mech, I'm noticing a notable lack of absence in the color. Do you not come prepared on the day of St. Patrick? What are you not locked in as? That's pretty good. You're drinking it.
I have a drink. It's got green on it, okay? We deal.
We make it work. Well, we are barreling towards MEC playoffs, and boy, oh boy, is the action heating up. I'm loving what we've seen so far from our teams in the regular season. And tonight on tap, we've got not green beer, but two new joiners facing off here. I am super excited to see Ohio State, the Buckeyes, take on the Kansas Jayhawks.
I am excited as well. We're going to get started to draft very quickly tonight for no reason at all. That Mac definitely doesn't know why. We're going to get started very quickly into draft tonight. So the second I see these teams going, we're going to jump over. But we've seen Ohio State do very well in their first season in the MEC. we have not seen Kansas do as well in their first season, and we're kind of hoping for them to get a win tonight. It would be a good start to the last push of this season. And we're into draft.
Woo! Let's do it. Kansas, I think we saw them for the first time just last week. And what my big takeaway for Kansas was, be careful about draft, because they are going to be drafting some of the most absolute wild compositions. But we see here Kansas, they're going to be focusing on 5-fire, the stalwart in the mid lane for OSU, trying to limit what he's able to do in that lane, taking away the Azir, taking away the Corki. Ohio bringing out one of Tutu MC's big champs, potentially maybe going Jace top. Shout out NA Jace. Meanwhile, Kansas going for the Sejuani. I think we saw this last week. And then Tristana most likely going into the bot lane, but can also go mid. Some flexibility coming out from both teams, as not only did we hop into draft pretty quickly here, MEC, really these teams are kind of flying through draft, as Ohio State's going to be taking a second here, catching their breath, figuring out what they want to do with the rest of their first phase picks.
Yeah, it does seem that way. Ziggs picked pretty early. I'm liking this already as a draft from Ohio. The Ziggs is quite good in both mid and bot lane right now, so it could go in either place for Ohio State. The Jace probably top lane, but we've seen it going in a couple of different places.
Oh,
Never mind, it's going bot lane.
You think? Oh, the Ziggs.
You don't think the Ziggs is going bot lane?
Oh no! Yeah. Sorry, I thought we were still.
No, I think the Yone is
for a
going
second.
mid.
I thought I thought maybe I was like, "Yo, Jace Ziggs bot like Uber poke lane." Did I maybe missed out on something? But no, I definitely get. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Definitely Ziggs going bot. Supplement some of the AP damage. So really, the solo laner is going to be focusing on AD. We're able to see an AP bot laner now. I wonder if it's going to be Ruler on the ADC or their other carry down there in the bot lane. But I think overall for Ohio State, what's been really interesting to see is their roster flexibility and how Coach Enzo's really able to utilize that in the draft. And I believe from what we were able to tell in the lobby, Ohio State's going deep in the player pocket. They've got a jungle substitute coming in as well. Haniagra did not seem to be in the lineup.
Yeah, it does seem to be that Miller is in the lineup tonight. If you're a big MEC fan and we're watching us during the fall season, you actually saw Miller jungle most games.
Okay.
So it's not completely out of left field to see Miller in the games tonight. But I do expect a little bit of a different jungle pool. Just a little.
Talk to me a little bit if I were, coming in fresh in the spring, starting to bloom. And I wasn't well versed in the Miller jungle, MEC. How would you describe the Ohio State jungler playing tonight?
I actually thought Miller was really, really good. We saw him in the fall, and seeing this OSU team without any kind of adjustments, I kind of was like, oh wait, maybe they're like, I don't know why you'd move on from Miller. It doesn't kind of make sense. And then Haniagra has come in and been really, really good. So I wouldn't expect to see a dip at any level from this team. I think Miller is an incredibly good player. It may be just a little bit of a different pool. If I remember correctly, Miller was playing more a little bit aggressive picks. I want to say like a Shinzao and Jarvan. But that's just about as aggressive. We've seen Haniagra play a ton of Vi, and I believe Lily as well. So could go either way there, I guess.
Ooh, the Aurora coming through for the mid lane. Tristana heading down bot, and potentially support counter pick coming through, wanting to maybe see what is going to be paired with the Ziggs down bot. Ohio State could opt for something aggressive like the Nautilus. Karma is still available as well if they want to go something more poke heavy. Rel's been really popular as an engage support. Maokai kind of lands somewhere in the middle, right? Mech, decent engage slash disengage options with his ultimate and W. But as well, he's got the sapperlings for both lane pressure, controlling the bushes, as well as those saplings dish out a lot of poke damage. And talking about Miller's aggressive jungle options, Viego, Shyvana, the
Oh,
dragon comes out. Very exciting stuff here. Shyvana actually not the most aggressive early on, so pretty interesting to see that. But against the Sejuani, Mech, maybe Ohio State sees an opportunity here to not push as hard in the early game. I feel like it's a valid option to say, hey, I'm going to try to pick something. Sejuani is going to be pretty slow in the early game, especially in terms of clear. Shyvana definitely going to have the early clear advantage as Renata Glask gets locked in for the Jayhawks as the final pick, and the compositions are set.
yeah, I really like both these compositions. I think Sejuani Garen, I think you get a lot of value. Well, you're at least getting some value out of Sejuani passive when you play with Garen. If you play Sejuani with 4 range, that means you don't get any value out of the passive. It feels really, really bad. Um, on the other side for Ohio State, I think that their
Mm-hmm.
comp lets them win in basically every lane that they want to win in.
Mm-hmm.
Right, we're assuming that the Ziggs is going into mid lane. Um, I that's the only viable comp in my brain right now is seeing
Yeah.
Jace top lane, uh, Shyvana in the jungle, Yone mid lane, Ziggs bot lane, and Maokai support. And I think that wherever Ziggs goes, I think it will have an advantage in the battle right now. I think especially up against Tristana, it's a really good battle
Mm-hmm.
because it's able to against Tristana, both want to push and get plates, so they kind of annoy each other enough that it works out in the end of the day.
And I think that is especially interesting. I want to see how the laners actually do. I think the laners are going to be tested in this game. It to me, it's giving hands check, Mech.
Yeah.
Which lanes are going to be able to win in the solo lanes. The case the 1v1, and for the bot lane, who's going to be able to come on top for the 2v2. The
Mhm.
junglers now, they'll obviously play a role, but I think it'll be interesting to see how aggressive Kansas is able to be on the Sejuani. Obviously, a lot of good ganking tools, a lot of CC. Come level 6, Glacial Prison can have a huge impact. So I wonder if the Tristana Renata maybe going to be able to get some sort of tower dive going, level 2, level 3, on the Ziggs Maokai. Maybe when the Ziggs doesn't have all the wave clearing tools, I think Tristana is definitely going to be a little stronger early on.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, for Ohio State, I'll be watching these AD carries. Jason Yone locked in for 2-2 and 5 fire. Really exciting picks, but the potential there until maybe the late game on the squishier side. Though Jace Grasp of the Undying has been pretty popular, so maybe the Jace is going to be a little more bruisery to go toe to toe with the Garen. Overall, as we said, both teams. This is why I come for the Kansas games overall, Mech. These fun comps. You've got Garen in the top lane to spice things up and dish out some Demacia Justice. We definitely saw quite a bit of that just last week.
Oh yeah, just a bit. I think the other thing to point out is that the Ohio State composition is very good at going in. Right, you have Yone
Mhm.
ultimate, you have Maokai ultimate, you have Shyvana's entire shtick. The only people that don't really want to go in is Jason Ziggs, who are very content, kind of hurling stuff from the back lines.
Yeah.
They're really okay with that. And that makes sense for both these compositions, right? For this composition, they want to go in with their 3 frontliners and be really aggressive about it. And on the other side, we see Tristana, who wants to kind of do a lot of damage in a team fight. We see a really good team fighting comp, basically, is what I'm looking at. And the Renatas are really good counter pick to the entire Ohio State side because they will counter each other here. just thematically, right? If you want to go in, you have to deal with Renata ult. You have to make sure that this Renata gets taken care of before she ults. Otherwise, everything's terrible.
It's brutal, man. It really is. It talk about a game changer that comes through and can really wreak havoc. The supports in this game have a lot of playmaking potential between those two ultimates, right? It's kind of funny thinking about how functionally they're pretty similar. The slow moving, very wide wave that comes in and just affects potentially the whole enemy team. So it'll be interesting to see how they're able to move around the map, position wisely, and hopefully find some big ultimates to come through. Overall, I think for both of these teams, finding a semblance of comfort and confidence before the playoffs is an absolute huge boost to both momentum and mindset.
Yeah.
Playoffs are coming up shortly. Kansas, the bottom
We
seed,
have 2
coming
weeks
in,
left.
likely a difficult matchup for them in the first round of playoffs. So this, for them, kind of a gauge to see how well they can go toe to toe with one of the top teams in the league.
Yeah, so I think right now, and I'm taking some guesses here. Okay? I think right now they would go up against Grandview. I think. It's a little bit all over the place in terms of seeding right now, because not every team has played every single match, and we did
Yeah.
have Drury drop out part the way through the season.
Mhm.
So it's a little harder, and we have these double round robins, which don't have a kind of unified joke, unified like rankings. So
Mhm.
there's definitely there's still time to come back and improve your seed. I will say that if you're in the bottom half, either way, it is a little bit more difficult to come back and bring yourself to a better matchup. We've talked a lot about how every team in this conference is really quite good,
Mhm.
and that there's these top 4 teams of Grandview, Purdue Northwest, Ottawa Braves, and Ohio State. Columbia's right on there on the door knocking. Briarcliff can be incredibly good on every single on any day. There's no easy matchups here. It's not like, oh, if you win a couple games, you get a considerably easier matchup. There's no easy matchups here. So you're winning right now to see if you can have a better time or if you think there's a better matchup for you. But all those teams are really tough, man.
You're looking at the list, scratching your chin, like, which is
Yeah, like
the
who do you want to play? Purdue Northwest or
pick your
Grandview?
poison? Oh, yeah, definitely a challenge. The top teams in the league have looked just on point.
Unstoppable.
Shout out Nightstar for his performance in NACL competition just recently. Um, Overall, they are, well, should just shout out Nightstar in general for kudos and just to kind of showcase, just how good some of the top teams at the MEC really are. So for Kansas, I hope to see them really have confident and decisive playmaking and play calling as we hop onto the Rift. Let's get into it, Mech. Summoners, welcome onto the Rift for game number 1 of our best of 3 series, the Ohio State University taking on Kansas University. Super, super excited for this one. 2 of the MEC newcomers facing off on the Rift. Now I see Grump Rider has gone. Is that Exhaust Sejuani Jungle?
It does seem to be that. I'm kind of here for it. I will note for everyone, unfortunately, we do not have Dragon timers and Baron timers for you tonight because someone is doing production for the first time tonight in a long time.
We
I'm
have no
raising my
idea
hand.
who.
You can't see it.
We're tracking them down. We're tracking the culprit. Rest
But
assured.
point being is, as I have the actual game open in front of me, I will do my best to tell you when they're happening. I'll do my best to call the timers out. We'll go with that.
Or, you know, just get good, stream. Time your objectives. We'll try to help as best we can overall. So until then, the early game, luckily no objectives to worry about until later. Gromp Rider, something I'll look for on the Sejuani, starting off on the top side of the map, maybe with the exhaust, looking for an early top gank. 22MC does get level 2 first. Ash doesn't need level 2. He's got the Ignite. He's trying to pull it off, but the range advantage goes the way of 22MC, and the Jace outplay comes through. A huge wave crashes in underneath the turret mech. That is tragic for the Kansas top laner.
Yeah, that's not great. It's not where you really want to be.
No, still level 1. A lot of XP.
This bot lane is just going to be a lot of poke, right? 5150 wants to do a lot of poke to the enemy team. And Frubelhus, which, God, players must hate us, because we're going to mispronounce that name the entire night. That he's going to want to get a lot of explosive charges onto the Ziggs, onto Cyborg's Maokai, and go from there.
Oh, absolutely. Renata helping out in that department as well. We do see Gromp level 3 on the bottom side of the map. Maybe I'm looking for this dive opportunity I talked about during the draft, but there was a trinket ward dropped in. So I think Gromp Rider was actually spotted in his own jungle, as both junglers going for early full clears. Another ward placed down by Miller, as Gromp maybe looks spot for a gank, might not need to dive, as Cyborg just gonna drop a sapling and walk away, Mac. Sometimes that's all it takes.
Just gonna drop us something. He's gonna take care of what he needs to take care of, man. We see 22MC kind of hitting hard again onto Ash in the top lane. It's a little bit rough now for Garen. He's down a level. A cull start from Jace, and since Garen, when he died, didn't have enough money to actually come back with an item, right? He's really behind right now. It's a 15 CS lead for 2MC and a cull, and he can kind of back on his own terms here.
Yeah, he's getting extra gold, extra value, and then he's going to be able to cash in, and at a certain point, we'll see a big jump in the top lane as 22MC cashes in. But here's Gromp Rider with the exhaust, maybe looking to be a difference maker, going to go ahead and drop it. 22 locked down, put out, and sent back to base. Well-timed ganked as the lane was pushing in. And Ash is just going to try to shove it in, but 22MC's got teleport available. It looks like the wave is just going to reset here as 22MC actually gets a teleport off on the wave. We'll see how that plays out as Miller, you mentioned his aggressive play style earlier, Mech. We see a roam from Ash coming in from the top lane. This might be a 3v2, but Jungle Camp goes over to Miller. Cyborg is actually roamed up, and it's numbers advantage for the Buckeyes as Ash goes down yet again.
That was a huge flash right there from Cyborg to make sure to secure that that CC for a moment. Really heads up play there from Cyborg. And it's not like the flash means nothing, right? If you play Maokai, you can play Maokai with Hex Flash, which means you can flash over the walls a little bit easier and you don't have to worry too much about the cooldown. He's not playing with Hex Flash. That's a lot pushed down, but it's a worthwhile kill this early to take out Ash again, to continue to force 2M2MC to have this like really good lead in the top lane.
Oh, here's ultimate and a gank coming into the mid lane. Fi gonna have to use some fancy footwork to get on out of here. ultimate expended to go ahead and get out of dodge. Neo tries to roam up from the bot lane, but comes out a little short. Overall, MEC may be an opportunity here for Kansas to look for the dragon, as Miller up top gonna look for Void Grubs.
Going to look for Void Grubs. It will be a Dragon Tank at the same point, so even trade, or as even as this can be. I think you want to generally prioritize Void Grubs. I think generally it's a better deal to prioritize the Void Grubs. You have a lot more pushing power late game, especially if you are the Ohio State team. It feels like Jace and Yone can side lane maybe a little bit better than Garen and Aurora, especially with the lead that Jace currently has in the top lane. Not just in general Garen, but specifically right now Garen. It feels like there's a bit of a... Right now it feels that there's more side lane pressure, so getting the grubs, you're taking more side lane towers, and people have to really respect side lane pressure.
Wow, and here we do kind of start to see the Shyvana pick go to work. Miller, again, is going to have better wave clear, or better jungle clear, and is able to sneak in and steal a red buff. Meanwhile, MEC, what we just have to talk about, the elephant on the rift, this top lane for Ohio State, more than a level lead for 22MC's Jace, 40 CS ahead, as this is a big developing lead. Now, it's not going to be the most clear at the moment because 22MC is going for a somewhat scaling build, right? Opted for the tier, opted for the coal, but when those come online, Ash is in a lot of trouble.
Not only is Ash in a lot of trouble, but the rest of the team is in a lot of trouble, right? So Jace is definitely going this more like bruiser build that you had talked about earlier. Expect to see like Black Cleaver, Sundered Sky. You could actually see Eclipse in here too. It depends how aggressive he wants to be and how much he feels he's ahead. You already see a Manamune or a Fimbulwinter being built. I would assume, just based on the fact that he's 35 CS ahead and a kill up right now, screams to me that he's going Manamune. This may turn into even less bruiser actually, and even more just like straight AD Jace.
Ohio State off of the back of the aggressive jungle play. We see Miller going in, using the ultimate, big Aurora ultimate, big Renata Glass coming in, ultimates all over the place, MEC, but Ohio State coming through as Fire makes his way into the back line, trying to take out Hashiwa, is able to do so, but so far it's only a 2 for 2 as Fire goes back to his spirit. An even trade in ultimates galore, unbelievable. We are in for an action-packed game as 5150 gonna try to back off as the Kansas bot lane stayed alive.
Yeah, so I will show one thing here, which is the gold difference. Yes, there were kills, and it was even kill for kill, but the kills went on to Grombrider and to Frubalhulse, and you don't really want the kills to go to Sejuani. So Sejuani's up a little bit in jungle, who cares? The problem is more the top lane with the 1,500 gold lead right now, bot lane with a couple hundred gold lead, and mid lane with a couple hundred gold lead. Though that top lane gold lead is dwindling a little bit now that a kill has gone over to Ash again on 2M2MC.
Yeah, he's got to be careful overextending. Gromp Rider's got a lot of lockdown on the Sejuani. It's very easy to gank, but meanwhile, with that pressure in the top lane, it does open up things in the bot lane. The second law of League of Legends thermodynamics, equal and opposite reactions, as Miller gonna capitalize level 8 on the Garen. Even matchup, but sword versus dragon. Garen's got a big sword, but sometimes even that is still a little tough to take. Void Grubs spawning shortly as the first turret of the game goes over to the Buckeyes.
That is the first turret of the game right there. We do see it go through, and I think that's a good start for Ohio State, right? You see right now they've got this 3,000 gold lead. A lot of it is definitely in the top lane, but you can see leads starting to like crop up all over the place. Ziggs has a full tower of plates. I can guarantee you right now that when we go to look at the gold, look at the lead in the bot lane now. It was 200 before. It's just over 1,000 now. Fire maybe being caught out, though.
Once again, the Yone ultimate used as an escape tool does a lot of work. He's been able to escape a lot that's been thrown at him so far, as all 6 Void Grubs are collected. And now we get a little bit of a lane swap situation, and honestly, 22MC's got 2 levels on the bot lane. He is a scary threat in the solo lane to try to deal with.
Definitely is some sort of scary threat. You see that here, that Kansas want to go for this dragon. They took first dragon. They want to start stacking them. And they've actually moved Tristana to mid lane already. Feels a little early to do this, especially when Fire's up 3 levels and can do that kind of thing.
Big ultimate coming through. The hostile takeover is dodged. Dragon is secured, but the Buckeyes are going to absolutely demolish the fight and turn their attentions to the mid lane. Miller going to cash in on a bunch of jungle CS. And with 5150, the demolish proc coming in as well, we'll see just how long the turret stands.
Yeah, we do see that. We also see, yeah, 2M2MC is down here in the bot lane, absolutely trying to crush through this right now. And he has a lot of damage. He's got Demolish. It's a lot of work that he can do there to make sure that that tower goes down. This team is kind of built to take towers down. 5150 is going to keep pushing this mid lane, trying to use Satchel.
Yep, trying to get it down to that explosive execution point. Fire, meanwhile, no ultimate, gonna get stunned up, silenced, and Justice delivered. He's gonna try to flash away, gonna try to dash out of dodge, but a shutdown comes through. Ash using both summoner spells to get some extra gold, trying to stay in this game as best he can. Meanwhile, 22MC on the bot lane finishes up the Cole, and we're about to see a big back out of the Jace.
Yeah, this Jace should be getting an item or 2. I wouldn't be surprised to see a full item plus a little bit, plus a good chunk more off this back. You see a lot of his counterparts are on full item already. It'll be full item plus boots plus nothing. Just be a Sojourn and boots.
Gonna keep the Cole, you know, just as a friendly reminder.
No, he just doesn't have money on him. Never mind. He had less money than I thought he did.
Miller using the ultimate here in the mid lane. We have the technology. It is available. Mid lane under siege yet again, but Frabulous has been doing an awesome job on the Tristana, clearing the waves, making it quite challenging. But turret plating has fallen, and that turret is no more. Fallen. Yeah, that's tough.
It's definitely a little bit brutal right there, and this Ziggs has so much cash at this point. Top lane turret won't fall here, but it's close. It's getting there.
Wait a minute.
Oh no!
The demolition crew came through.
Just a quick little stroll.
He's like, "Yep, I got a permit for this. Don't worry. This building, this turret is no longer up to code. We're gonna be taking this down in just a moment." Medjai's picked up for 5150. Ohio State's feeling good in this game. 15.5 minutes in, MEC. They've got a 6,000 gold lead. As we look at the objectives, Dragon gonna be a little ways away, over a minute until that. Meanwhile, Ash got to avoid a gank in the top lane. Gromp gonna even things out. Fire trying to get onto the Garen in the back line, using the ultimate, dishing out the damage. He's only got a few seconds left, and that will do it. But justice is delivered. Takeover comes in. Meanwhile, 22MC left alone in the bot lane after taking on Hashiwa. The Aurora not using the ultimate in the 1v1. Teleport is available, could return down there immediately, but it looks like 22MC, I believe, is going to be able to finish off that turret and add even more gold into his pocket.
Yeah, he's just going to keep pushing here at this point. 5150 is very content split pushing the entire game. Right, we talked before about how Yone and Jace really okay to split push the entire game and push these lanes in. A Ziggs with this much money right now absolutely is okay too as well. We talked about the CS gap in top lane. It stayed at 50 for a while now. The CS gap in bot lane is nearing the same number.
5150's been all over the place. Level 11 as well.
Is that why
it's
his
just
name's
been clearing?
5150?
Oh, oh my gosh! Now the poke comes in. Gotta watch out for that. A lot of damage out of T2MC can take Frebulous out of the fight with one or two of those shock blasts landing, and the dragon stacking begins. Shyvana's been missing out. Miller has wanted the dragons, but unfortunately not been able to get them in the early game. But finally, the Buckeyes get on the dragon board, are going to be able to start stacking the Infernal Dragon for additional damage. Meanwhile, Cyborg, got to be careful not to get caught here, does have the ultimate, and now it's not Cyborg trapped in with the Jayhawks. They're trapped in with Cyborg. Hashiwa trying to dance around the fight. 22MC looking to find his way onto the backline. Meanwhile, Ash takes down Fire in the 1v1. 22MC able to answer right back alongside Cyborg. 5150 forced to back away, and overall it's a 1-for-1 trade, but 22MC is going to try to even things out. Gromp Rider forced to back. Big shot blast absorbed by what is now the Poro Rider for the time being. OSU with Miller getting a bunch of healing. They're going to turn their attention onto the Rift Herald.
I kind of love what Fire did there. Using the Unchained Soul to dash himself forward to lead Ash to 2MC, right? Generally, when you play against the Yone and they use E to try and run away, your first thought is, oh, I need to follow the Yone. But when you start playing as Yone a lot, like these players have, you actually know, oh no, wait, we don't care about chasing after this guy. He's going to snap back here.
Yep.
So I think it's a really kind of ego move there by Fire to see if he could bait out Ash to continue following the Unchained Soul, which he ends up doing, and it works out perfectly for Ohio State.
Cyborg looking for yet another pick as Miller goes Dragon, hostile takeover, and the stun working together to lock down the jungler, but it doesn't matter. 5150 picks up the first kill of the fight. Gromp Rider going in. Hashiwa trying to turn the tide, but the Buckeyes, so much damage. Cyborg finished off in what feels like a targeted event there from Ash. Like, okay, or the Maokai goes down. Ash gets some vengeance for the engage, but overall a 3-for-1 in favor. Buckeyes extend the gold lead to 8.5K.
Something I'd like to note here, this is a Medjai's. Does very well with stacks. You can't see the number, it's a 17. It's a lot of Medjai stacks right there.
Risky Gambit paying off.
We've seen a lot of Dark Seals this MEC. There's also, for what it's worth, additional 10 stacks on a Dark Seal for Miller. A lot of Dark Seal is an MEC. I haven't seen many pay off. This one's paying off right now.
Big time. The hybrid build from Miller, the Shyvana Connoisseur, Leandria Spear of Shojin. It's popping off, and Ohio State is having an awesome showing here with the Rift Herald. 9K gold lead. In complete control here is Fire trying to look for the 1v1 against Hashiwa. Cyborg going to try to even things out with the ultimate. Hashiwa trying to use his own ultimate, getting unable to regen from Renata Glass ability there. Neo can't keep the mid laner alive, and the Buckeyes able to get a pick in the side lane, which opens up 5150 for yet another glorious tower destruction. The Demolish doing a whole lot of work. I think that's at least 3 or 4 towers for 5150 so far.
Yeah, I mean, 51. They've got 6 towers, and the second you see that there's a Ziggs
Oh
and a
my
Jace with
gosh.
Demolish who's this far ahead, you just kind of assume that they're crushing through these towers, and it is right. 5150 has crushed through so many towers. He has such a big gold lead right now against this Tristana. It's a 3,000 gold lead in the bot lane on its own, 11k total in the game.
And now the inhibitor tower on the menu next. Ashe is going to try to turn the tide, but what you got to consider with the siege of the Buckeyes is the poke damage, the long-ranged attacks to support the siege, which makes it incredibly hard to defend.
So they need to start looking at syncing waves up here between mid and either bot, mid and top, so that way they can rotate between the two easily. But the Kansas University side needs to really think about it on what they want to do. They're going to go for Otacon while they've had the opportunity to. They're also going for Dragon at the same time, for what it's worth. They feel very strong now on the Ohio State University side.
And this is going to be a big cash in for the Jace, who's just going to get absolutely supercharged. The Muramana has been unlocked. He's reached all the stacks. And this Buckeyes squad is feeling themselves here in game number 1 of the best of 3. We'll see how they decide to finish things off. Second Infernal Dragon was secured, which means just even more damage than before from Ohio State, which is just absolutely brutal.
So I've kind of come around to the fact that I'm not sure that individual dragons are worth as much as they used to be. Regardless if that is true or not, the soul will be worth a lot in terms of damage to Ohio State. You can see that Miller in this mid lane, they're continuously pushing waves. They're trying to sync up bot and mid right now to take over these towers, just to at least get one inhib tower.
Fire dodging around everything to try and stay alive. Meanwhile, Hashiwa picks up a turret in the top lane, but the siege begins as so much damage comes out of 5150. The inhibitor turret gets destroyed. And talking about sinking waves, MEC, Ohio State able to get a fork attack on the mid and bot lane. Big ultimate out of Hashiwa, 5150 trying to stay alive. Hostile takeover comes out. The flash away from Demacia Justice. 5150 escapes the system and survives. Miller finishes off the Jayhawks top laner. 2 inhibitors are destroyed and the final push begins. 5150 finishes off 1 turret. Miller and 22MC decimate the back line, and that is going to do it for game number 1. Ohio State dominates Kansas in convincing fashion, finishing this one off in just 25 minutes. MEC, wow. What a start here from Ohio State.
And just as the Baron had spawned, they couldn't have let it go out a little bit longer just to make sure that the Baron was there. I guess not.
Yeah. Wow.
It was a dominant game
in that game. Yeah. There were a lot of everyone on Ohio State looked good.
Literally everyone on Ohio State looked good. There was maybe Cyborg had a couple plays. Maybe 5150. Five Fire had a couple of like over aggressions when he was in the side lanes, but I'm starting to have to nitpick a lot here. That's what it feels like in order to talk really about these teams in the way that we are talking about them. Ohio State felt like they had control of the entire game. They had this really big lead in top lane. They turned into a really big lead in bot lane as well. And once Jace and Ziggs were fed, it really didn't matter where the lead was. It didn't matter what Five Fire did, as long
Mhm.
as they were able to facilitate the taking of towers between Jace and Ziggs, it didn't matter.
Yeah. Clean game, clean draft. Enzo going to be happy with the team's performance here. We're going to get geared up and ready to go for game number 2. It's a best of 3 series. Ohio State on match point. We'll see if the Jayhawks can mount a comeback here on this Monday night of MEC action. Don't click out of that browser. We'll be right back after a short break. back. It's Ohio State University taking on the Kansas Jayhawks. Ohio State dominate game number 1 for a convincing victory as the Jayhawks look to bounce right back and get into this series with a victory of their own here in game number 2.
Yeah, they're trying to get here. Let's see if they're actually able to. We see bands start coming through. It looks to be the same bands that we saw last game. That Caston and York band against Kansas. Darius will be the third to follow. And Bessa for Kansas, but a new band to the table in Jace.
Yeah, do not want to see that one again. And the Zig's taken off the board as well. So some opportunity here for Ohio State. They've opened up the mid lane. Kansas not banning away the Azir Corki, those being the relatively safe bans. And if you're thinking about it, I think the decision of not banning either comes from, well, if they pick one, maybe we can pick the other. Ohio State, interestingly enough, locking in Jin, most likely for
Yeah.
the bot lane mech. What do you think about the pick?
No, I think it's Jingle. It got buffed like 8 months ago, and I haven't seen anyone play it yet, so I think it's Jin in the jungle. No,
Yeah.
I think Jin is absolutely in bot lane. I'm curious. There's a lot of OP ADCs still up, and we've seen 5150 play stuff like the Varus a ton. So I'm a little miffed. Sejuani makes perfect sense. Running it back from last game, a little salty run back there. The Seraphine. We've seen this in their draft history.
Yeah.
There has been consistent thoughts on a Seraphine support here. Do I think Seraphine is best played in support right now? Probably not after last patch. But Seraphine in the bot lane, good shouts here for the Kansas University side. Lilia locked in.
Oh, dang. Lilia,
What's our
let's
thoughts
go.
here on non-Haniagra Lilia?
That's exactly what I was thinking about mech, right? The crazy ultimates that came out of Haniagra's Lilia put the MEC on notice. At least on street, the dude, he was hitting some crazy 5-man ultimates. It was super fun to watch. Miller likely taking notes, getting the notebook out, trying to hopefully replicate this a little bit. So we'll see how it goes. Renekton locked in likely for 2-2 MC. The hopeful counter is going to be Ash on Alawi to try and go toe-to-toe in the 1v1. Meanwhile, Kansas with the Karma ban looking to limit some of the ability to go toe-to-toe with Seraphine in the bot lane.
I'm sorry. I feel like you didn't use enough emotion here to top of the slide. There's an Alawi. The last time I saw Alawi was, I believe, when Cornell University were rostering a team in the MEC last year, and we saw them play at top lane. I do not believe it was a particularly good pick then. I do not believe it's a particularly good pick now.
However,
confused.
it's classic Kansas. It's classic Kansas. You never know. You never know what they're going to pull out in the draft. You're going to keep teams on their toes, and you got to be ready for anything. Azir Azir banned, and I wonder now, my immediate thought went to be, is Kansas going to pick Corki here, red 4?
I would think about it. I like Corki. I think that there's not many counters you can use to Corki right now, especially if you go mid lane, and especially if Azir is banned. I wouldn't be surprised to see if Kansas goes for the Corki here. I know you just said about Ohio, but no, it's just going to be Yone. I think this also makes sense from like a protect the Yone kind of perspective. You want to protect him against poke from Azir. I think that there's a lot of other ways you can get poke into Yone, though. I think you can play a Tristana into it and be okay. Is this the Dylan we go Vayne moment?
Oh my gosh. Ain't no way.
Ain't no way we're having our own Dylan Wego Vane moment.
Is it?
It says
I'm
0
holding my
seconds.
breath. I'm holding my breath.
Oh,
Wow,
we've gone
Enzo,
Vane.
Coach Enzo's crazy. The Vane mid into
Okay, well,
Yone. Walk us through,
hold on
Mac.
here. It could be Renekton mid.
That's true.
There is a
Jin,
real case
where's Jin
here for
go? Jin top?
Renekton mid.
Oh,
No,
no, Vane
Renekton
top.
mid,
Sorry.
Vane top. Yeah, Renekton mid, Vane top. Because then you put the Vane into Alawi.
Mm-hmm.
The
Condemns
Alawi
really
was
good.
a count. Yeah, the Vane was a counterpick to something, but the Alawi was a counterpick to Renekton. Okay, so we've seen them play Hui Seraphine bot lane before. This is a known quantity from the University of Kansas. I do expect this to get locked in here. I'm a little confused is the wrong word. Because I'm not
Intrigued?
confused. I'm intrigued about this Ohio comp. I have the actual client in front of me. I will alert us the second we know where people are going. But if I had to guess right now, we're looking at a Vane top into Alawi and Renekton mid
Okay.
into the Yone. That's my
Yeah.
guess.
That makes sense. And I wonder now if you're Kansas, do you try to sneakily move any laners around? It could be a little hard to execute. I'm trying to think if the Yone does any better into the
I don't
Vayne.
think either do particularly well into Vane. I
Yeah.
just think that Renekton doesn't do particularly well into Alawi, and he can do better into Yone. I think it's kind of Garbo match for both of them.
But who do you
Like
take the
into a
L
Vane.
on?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like you take the L somewhere between the Vane and the between the two, but I don't know. They've started banning in game. We will find out in a moment where this Vane is going.
Yeah, it'll be super interesting. I think just even at the start of the game, level 1, if Kansas tries to pull any shenanigans to get a more favorable lane situation, because Ohio State kind of cooked here with the delayed, Renekton flexibility early on into the Vayne Blue 4. And then they get EP damage from the jungle, right? They do have the Lilia in the back pocket. Looking at Kansas's overall composition, outside of the Yone, Seraphine and Hui, super long ranged. This time it is Kansas with the range advantage. Outside of course, Jin Ultimate, which makes things a little tricky for them. But overall, Ohio State does not have a lot of wave clear, and it should actually be pretty tricky for them to potentially deal with the siege. So I wonder if we'll see Kansas maybe prioritize the Void Grubs a little more here in game 2.
Yeah, they were prioritized by Ohio State in game 1. And I do believe that was the right call. I don't know whether it's the right call in game 2 to really prioritize that.
Early fighting against the Renekton will always be tough. Alawi definitely feels stronger at level 6, so likely not in time for the first Void Grubs fight. But usually it comes down to a numbers advantage. But it definitely feels like Kansas a lot stronger at the level 6 point compared to Ohio.
Yeah, it does feel that way. And they probably are, for what it's worth. It is Vayne top. It's Vayne top into the
Oh
Alawi.
boy.
I have it confirmed. I see it on my screen right now. So it's 5 fire Renekton in the mid lane against Yone. Now, obviously, the top laner and the mid laner for Kansas can go walk to different lanes.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think about. Yeah.
They can switch lanes themselves, but it will be 2MC piloting the Vayne top, and it will be 5 fire piloting Renekton in the mid lane.
Ooh.
Just a little spice in draft. Little spice in draft.
the new joiners of the MEC definitely keeping things interesting for us here on this lovely Monday night. Wow, I'm just so excited to see these two teams face off again. Game number one, certainly action packed.
Oh
MEC
yeah.
for Kansas. Who do you think it's got to be to really lead the charge in turning things around?
Oh wait. Hold on.
Hold up.
Oh no, no. There's some swapping happening in the lobby. I don't know. I don't know which is going to get locked in, but they did swap between the Hui and the Seraphine. They've swapped back. I think they're trying to bait me, basically. Um, it is Hui in the carry role, but it could have very quickly been Seraphine. Um, I think we've seen this Hui Seraphine bot lane before. And I think if you're gonna play this again and again and again, you need to make
Mhm.
sure it is something that really works. I think that if it's just kind of okay, that it's less good than if you were to play something like Varus, which was not banned out by anyone tonight, or Callista, which are two of the premier AD carries right now, especially Varus. That I think that everyone in the MEC can play. And I think that I know this sounds like a very like minute thing, but one of Alawi or Yone cannot lose tonight in this game.
Yeah.
Right, whichever one goes up. If you are playing into a vein, going even is terrible for you. There's like 0 champions in this game that outscale Vayne. It's like Nassist. End of sentence.
Vagar?
um,
Vagar, maybe?
yeah, maybe
Kinda?
Vigar, maybe Smolder. Like it's a very short list, and none of those champions are on the Kansas University side.
Yeah.
So when we look at this draft, we kind of have to go. You need to dominate Vayne in lane, or you need to at least attempt to, and you definitely cannot feed Vayne in lane. That is a very bad thing. Whether that's the Alawi or the Yone, I think you need to put a lot of jungle pressure up to that lane first, and make sure that you're using your jungler to A, the best ability, and B, to kind of shut down what seems to be a big focal point right now for Ohio State University.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
without us talking about that there's a Lilia on Ohio State University. And while it's not Haniagra, who we've seen absolutely crush people's souls playing Lilia, Miller's Lilia, I cannot imagine, is not a good Lilia. I feel like you won't pick Lilia in a game like this unless you know you can play Lilia. So it is still a Lilia on OSU. That's still a scary thing to see.
Yeah. 100%. Um, I think especially with Seraphine and Hui and really Alawi not being the most mobile. So I think overall it's kind of easy to set up the Lilting Lullaby. If you're able to get
Mhm.
onto the back line, absolutely terrifying. And then one of the best things to use with Lilting Lullaby, I think, has to be Jin fourth shot. Talk about a wake up call, you know?
Yeah. And there's a lot
um,
of what seems to maybe be like squishies, we'll say,
mm-hmm.
over on the side of Kansas. Is we're gonna jump to a quick break, as I have been kicked out of the lobby and need to figure out how to get back in.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. Don't click out of that browser. We'll be right back with game number 2. Hello, Summoners. Welcome on to the Rift for game number 2 of our best of 3 series. It's the Ohio State University taking on the Kansas Jayhawks. Ohio State on match point, looking to close things out. And it's 2-2 MC on Vayne with Ghost in the top lane, looking to do it. Fire Renekton mid, 5150, Jin in the bot lane. Miller taking a book out of Haniagra's book, going for the Lilia. Meanwhile, on Kansas, Ash Alawi thought he was getting a favorable matchup against the Renekton, will now be challenged against the Vayne. Gromp Rider back on Sejuani. Hashiwa, it seems like he looked at Fire having fun on Yone and said, let me give that a go. And then it's a classic Kansas bot lane, the Hui Seraphine duo, looking to poke out OSU. Something I'm a big fan of, 5150 starting boots gets 4 health potions against the poke lane.
It's definitely what I really like that against poke lanes, right? Poke lanes are notoriously difficult to survive.
And
when you're
did
playing
it.
into a, they swapped. I like
They
that.
swapped.
Right, so this Alawi was originally picked as a counter pick to the Renekton. So they've swapped to try and continue that counter pick. Now, they could swap again, right? Fire could walk up into the top lane, and 2M2MC could walk into mid lane. But I think either way, regardless who you put up against it, I think it's a good matchup for Vayne. It's a question of how confident Fire feels playing Renekton into Alawi.
Oh, level 2 first for the Buckeyes. Neo forced to flash away. Almost taken down. So close. Less than 20 health. I think it was at least 10, maybe, if
I think
that.
it had to be.
That was crazy. Was it the 4th shot that did the extra damage, or was it a straight grenade or a deadly flourish? I kind of missed that.
I think it was a 4th shot. They all came through very quickly. It looks like Fire, by the way, very happy to play against Alawi.
Yeah, he's doing just
judging
fine.
from the first you start to worry when you hit level 6, when the Alawi hits 6, but I think you're quite happy in this. 2MC went press the attack. I'm a little iffy about that these days.
Yeah.
Yep. Also, yeah, the game's just pausing. No clue why. Unsure. We're just chilling.
We get a rare relaxing moment on Summoner's Rift. As we'll take a second. It's crash, you think?
Well, let's put it this way. The spectator computer has not crashed.
Okay, yes.
I am sitting in front of the spectator computer. It has not crashed.
Yes. But the client, maybe? Do you want to try to exit out and reset it, or give it? We'll give it a moment.
Yeah, we'll try that. We'll be right back. Again, part 2.
And we are back with a quick kill in the mid lane. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen. Technical errors on our side as we want to get back into things as quick as possible. Get the scoreboard pulled up there. Looking at the CS differences, Ohio State a big lead. 2-2 MC on the Vayne picked up a kill. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, things looking pretty even, but we saw Cyborg roam up into the mid lane and help things out. Fire picking up a kill, decent CS lead, and this lane swap Kansas tried to make happen isn't really necessarily going in their favor.
No, in neither lane, right? It doesn't feel like it's going their favor in top lane, where you swap into the Vayne, or in mid lane where you swapped into a Renekton. I don't, for what it's worth, don't know if not swapping would have been any better, but it's where we stand now. Hashiwa going to try and go in a little bit. Gromp Rider's in the right place. Is he just out?
Final hour used the stealth. Did Hashiwa think he had that? Did he go back too early? I'm not sure what happened there, but it's level 6 for the Alawi, and it is time for the trial. 5 fire gets real low, and a lot of angry tentacles going to be slapping around. 5 fire quite low, and it's another spirit grab. 5 fire going to try to heal up and turn things around, but the slam comes through. Ashe gets a kill in the mid lane. Cyborg's got to be careful. There is a dangerous Bermuda Triangle formed in the mid lane, but Cyborg able to help out Miller. They take down Ashe and potentially rotate on down to the Dragon here. Meanwhile, Gromp able to pick up 3 Void Grubs after 22MC actually narrowly escaped in the top lane without having to burn Flash.
And even though 5 fire goes down to mid lane, he gets the assist, and more importantly, Lilia gets kills. We've seen this Lilia, not specifically from Miller, take over games before. We've seen Haniagara's absolutely, as I said earlier, crush souls. So because of that, getting Lilia fed a little bit early, not a bad thing.
Not bad at all. Solo lane leveling pretty even overall. 7 for 5 fire, 7 for Ashe, but we got to fight in the jungle. Cyborg getting caught out. Miller does have ultimate available. A big dredge line going to be able to get him out of dodge, and the Buckeyes continue to narrowly escape the dangers of the river, but here's a big engage coming in. Double lilting lullaby on the back line as here comes the crocodile. 5 fire in the river is going hunting. Frubalus taken down there by 5150's Jin, continuing rooting up Neo, and it is a clean turnaround as the Buckeyes spring a trap on the Jayhawks and pick up 3 kills.
So remember earlier we said that a fed Lilia real scary?
Yeah, just a bit.
Still
Just a little
scary. Still scary.
Ultimate comes out. 5 fire still has his ultimate available. Trying to turn it around, but a big slam, a double kill in the mid lane. Ashe is angry, but here's the Vayne counter that Ohio State wanted to utilize, able to calm down Ashe from hulking out in the mid lane. Double kill advantage, and Hashiwa able to get some experience, get a turret plate on the top side.
I think at this point you are psyched if you're a 5 fire. Yes, you've died 3 times, but your Vayne top has 2 kills. Your Lilia mid has 2 kills. Incredible flash there from 2MC. Everyone else on the team that needs to be fed is fed. If you're 5 fire, you just kind of have the mental and be okay to just be a stun bot. Keep your flash up and just be ready to flash W.
Your time will come. You'll know it when you see it, right? When the big lilting lullaby comes out, you'll know.
Yeah. That's when you want the cue.
Oh, brutal. Ain't no way Ashe just danced on him.
Ashe's having a little bit of a game here. It's a
funny.
4-3 and 1 Alawi. It's not like this is a 1-8 Alawi or something like that. There's been a lot of fighting in the mid lane, and it's mostly favored Ashe's Alawi.
Yeah, 100%. 5 fire has been able to have a little bit of CS, keep him relatively close, but it's a completed item for Ashe after all those kills come through, and I believe it's the first completed item in the game.
It does seem to be that way.
Pun intended.
And it's good into this enemy team, right? It's a straight armor item, but quite good if you're playing into a team with mostly 80 damage.
Meanwhile, the swap comes through. Fire wants to try to escape, but guess what? Ash and Gromp do not want to make it, so Fire flashes for the kill. Miller gets deleted by Ash. Deer in headlights in the top lane. Ash trying to flash for the kill, doesn't come through. One more test of spirit. Fire's gonna have some fancy footwork, can't get caught by the Alawi tentacles slamming down. Meanwhile, curtain call in the mid lane. What a performance! 5150. Is he gonna die? Oh my gosh, he was really low from the turret. Meanwhile, Ash comes in and kills Fire underneath the turret. This Alawi having a pop-off performance here, Mech. You mentioned that one of these guys has got to win lane, and the 6-3 Alawi may be doing just that.
Absolutely, maybe. We do see Grub started up here by Ohio State. Kansas University took the first pot of them. They're trying to take the second pot for Ohio State, but this tower's dangerously close to going down. That's 4 plates right now. Some of on this Yone, but a good chunk on this Alawi in top lane.
Void Grubs is picked up. All 6 for Kansas. I talked a little during the draft. I was thinking they might try to prioritize this, and 6 Void Grubs definitely going to open up things for Ash in the side lanes as Fire. Once again, the pressure is on. The Test of Spirit misses. Ash real low. Underneath the turret goes down for a 1-for-1 trade and a much-needed shutdown for the Buckeyes mid laner.
I think at this point, you kind of don't... Again, Renekton really does not care at this point. Just wants to be a stun bot. Purple Husk will go down under turret, so will Cyborg, though. It's not. It's even trades right now across the board. We saw it happen with the Alawi. We're seeing it happen with Hui. So, in no direction are they getting like a super beneficial bit. They're definitely... It's close across the board, right? And you can see that reflected in the gold lead. It's 2,500 gold right now. It's not an incredibly large gold lead. The person probably right now who's doing incredibly well may not be the Alawi, but the Jin in 5150. But he's not really able to push that elsewhere around the map right now. He's kind of stuck in mid lane right now, trying to force this tower down.
Meanwhile, the Hex Gates are activated. After the second dragon goes down, ultimate comes through. 22MC was sitting on a ward. Hashiwa looking for more, but the condemn sends him right back to the mortal realm. 22MC able to get out of trouble. Fire meanwhile popping the ultimate immediately. Ash does have his ready, but the Test of Spirit misses. It'll be a true test in the 1v1, but here's 5150 trying to spread his lead around the map. Comes in to personally deal with the troublesome Kansas top laner. Meanwhile, solo kill in the mid lane for Miller. Just looked like fun.
Yeah, the emo boy went down. Don't have much more to say on that. I mean, it's kind of brutal to see Hui just get caught by this Lilia as the Sejuani ultimate goes wide. Jumsi is caught under tower here. Still alive. That's a trade.
Another 1-for-1 trade, dude. How many kills have these turrets racked up this game?
The turrets are truly the winners, okay? We've known that for years. But they're the real winners.
Another turret for Gromp Rider, funny enough. The Sejuani, I feel like, has been the one picking up all the turret kills.
Hey,
smaller gold lead
go
here. Alright, let's see. Gank in the mid lane. Dredge line goes wide. Buckeyes back off. Only a 2.5k gold lead here for the Buckeyes. Kansas a lot more in this game, but here comes the curtain call. Time for a performance. 5150 racks up a little bit of damage, but the Kansas bot lane going to be okay underneath the turret.
Yeah, they will be okay underneath the turret. I know that sounded like a really smart piece of analysis, but I swear to you it was not. They're okay to be underneath the turret. But you see right there, Hashiwa has to jump back. We saw this in the last game with Fire baiting out Ash. It doesn't work against OSU.
They are aware of the Jedi mind tricks. Meanwhile, 22MC's got to be careful up in the top lane. Grump Rider about to have Glacial Prison up once again, looking for what seems to be maybe his favorite target, as Firefire does manage to pick up a turret. Went Eclipse on the Renekton. Very aggressive, looking for the burst damage potentially onto the backline as Neo and Frug just gonna clear the wave in mid, trying to stay safe. Rift Herald has spawned on the top side of the map as Ohio State look to position their team in that area here. Cyborg looking for a pick.
I think the Eclipse is actually very funny because there's two schools of thought here on what you could do as Renekton. You could, I think what most people do, say, oh, I'm going to die very early in fights. Let me build stuff to let me survive later in fights. Or you could do what Firefire has done, said, I'm going to die early in fights. That's fine. I'm going to get as much damage down as I humanly can. And I think that is a very different mindset than most players, even most players within the MEC would have.
Mm-hmm. Fight up here in the top lane. Numbers advantage for the Buckeyes. Going to lead to victory. Teleport coming in. It's the game changer. Ashe is coming in. Are they going to be able to CC chain him, though? The test catches Cyborg, and it's a whole lot of damage coming in off of the Lowy ultimate. Charm comes through. Ashe getting low, looking for some healing. It doesn't happen. Fire gets a double kill, and he's somehow turning this game around on the Renekton. Unbelievable. He's picking up so many kills despite struggling in the early game. Meanwhile, Froob did not buy a ticket to the Rift Herald train and is trying to run away from this one. Rift Herald not going to crash in here. Just going to try to dish out some damage. Absorbs a whole lot of turret damage, excuse me. As the Buckeyes back off. Their gold lead has exploded over the past few minutes, Matt.
Yeah, their gold lead has definitely exploded. We were sitting at about 2,000 before. Now we're at 7,000. And Hashiwa is about to go down to mid lane. 2M2MC flashes for it. I think it's a good flash. I think 2M2MC is also going to go down here. But to continue to force Hashiwa out, he's actually gone invisible. He may get out. He may be free. He is.
Wow. Crazy. Both ADCs flashing in. That is team synergy at its peak, if I've ever seen it.
Your jungler says flash, you say how far, okay? It's not no questions here. Say flash, you're pressing F. Unless you're weird like 2M2MC and have it on D, and then you're pressing D. Flash is for F. F is for flash, okay?
Yeah, 100%.
Faker uses flash on F, that's how you know it's right. 2MC just now stealing his own jungler's jungle, trying to see if he can get further and further up in the CS department. He's got this lowest on the Ohio State side, at least in terms of players that, well, should have some CS.
Well, humbly exempt Cyborg out of that
Yes.
that comparison, as I think he's going to be a little sad he didn't get the blue buff, but double buffs for 22MC. Ghost ready to go, but both ADCs without flash here in the potential upcoming fight. Kansas objective bounty is ready to go. I think we'll see. I wonder, does Neo need to leave the mid lane and just let Froob kind of just solo farm? Or I know that might be too dangerous, but still I'm a little curious. As Ohio State pushes their vision line forward, it is tough to go anywhere on the map for the Jayhawks.
I think right now you need to try something, right? You're down 7,000 gold, almost 8,000 gold. And you're looking at what seems to be an Otacon that could be taken very early by Ohio State. And I'd like to remind you all, Ohio State won this game in 5 more minutes in the last game, right? That's when they were able to win this game, and they're not at a totally unheard of lead from this point. As we see Miller in 5150 just kind of dealing damage down to the Otacon. It feels like you're at a point where you need to try something. That may be the thing to try. I also don't know what it gains you. I understand it gains you some levels on Hwei, but Seraphine's got to go somewhere. So if not with Hui, where are you going?
Meanwhile, Otacon taken down by the Buckeyes. They get a big ability boost. More damage for 5-Fire, more damage for 5150, cashing in almost 8,000 gold lead for the Buckeyes here. MEC, and they're one dragon away from the Dragon Soul.
It's a very different game in terms of objectives than it was last game. We saw that Kansas University wanted to stack dragons early. They got 2, then Ohio State got their 2 back and started pushing from that point. But Ohio State had gotten all 6 grubs early, the full pot of grubs, twice. And we see that completely flip this game. Even though it's flipped, it's still Ohio State coming out to this early lead.
Miller level 14 on the Lilia, terrifying. Even picked up the Medjais. Definitely took notes from Haniagra, and it is doing a lot of work. We'll see. Ohio State managed to destroy the bot lane turret down there. And they're going to keep on rolling here in game number 2. Sitting on match point. Look to finish off the clean sweep. Miller looking for a big ultimate. Misses the backline there. Cyborg going to try and dredge line out of dodge. Dragon should be spawning relatively shortly. The team's using the Hex Gates to run all around the map. 5-Fire doing a solid job. Does have teleport in the side lane, just waiting for his opportunity. 5-Fire quickly making his way to the bot lane, looking for a 1v1 against Hashiwa. We'll see how it goes. Ghost procced damage a lot, and 22MC's on a killing spree. A fight in the mid lane breaks out. Neo in trouble. Big ultimate from Miller. He's got himself a double kill. Meanwhile, 22MC comes in, condemns Ash. And while the Alawi is able to pick up 2 kills, it is not enough. Ohio State get the ace.
I mean, it is the Vayne moment. That's the moment you look for when you pick Vayne. You just kind of go, hey, Vayne, go wild, go crazy. This is what you pick Vayne for, is to do a huge amount of damage in these team fights. That's what Vayne's doing here. And you can see that when Ginsu's and Blade of the Ruined King, I think both are really good items right now, but both mean that every single auto you do a ton of damage. I know there's been a little schism in the League of Legends community right now. I've seen some crit Vayne builds recently, where you do an incredible amount of damage per auto. But I think in this game it makes sense to go on hit. You want to kind of kite some of these people out. You don't want them to get close. And I think it's really good. 5-Fire sitting in a bush just is going to annihilate Hashiwa right here.
The ultimate,
or come close to it. Maybe not
enough. Deadly Flourish misses. Cyborg turns
his
attention, but there he is. Slicing and dicing his way through the Jayhawks. Ash trying to teleport. Not going to work out. I think 5150 is focusing on the Hextech Soul at the moment. Ash just going to recall. The rest of the Buckeyes continuing to push. Hextech Soul going to give a static Shiv-like effect. Or a Volibear passive-like effect. There's a little bit of repetition in Link, but overall, there it comes through. You'll see that attacks from the Ohio State squad are now going to spread around. They're going to spread the love and like the electricity. Oh my goodness, so much damage out of 22MC, level 16 on the Vayne. Good luck to anyone who tries to face up against him right now. It's going to take 3 members of Kansas to go toe-to-toe.
I mean, that's why you pick the Vayne. You say, hi, we see you, Alawi. We understand you'd like to do damage to us. We're good.
I wonder if
just
here Miller using the ultimate Lilting Lullaby puts Hashiwa to sleep. And look at the flank curtain call coming out here. Froob gets shut down, dominating for 5150. Ohio State in similar fashion here at the 25-minute mark. MEC looking like they are in complete control. Dragon Soul acquired. They're going to shove in this bot wave and look for more.
see. This should be the ending push right here for Ohio State University. Timers are a little bit rough right now. Not a huge amount rough, and Ash is the one who's up. But if 2M2MC is vaguely in the area, it kind of feels a little bit of a wash for this Alawi. Even though the Vayne did not play against the Alawi, the Vayne's playing against the Alawi now.
What goes around comes around on the Rift. Ohio State with an almost 13,000 gold lead firmly in the driver's seat. Only a matter of time. Baron is available, but with 2 inhibs down, they might not need it. Cyborg in a little bit of trouble here. Does have an explosive cone. He's going to try to hop on here. Gate comes through. It's 5 fire. The Renekton and Raid Boss does not want the smoke in the 1v3. Understandably going to back off. Meanwhile, Cyborg just doing Cyborg shenanigans. He knows Neo and Gromp aren't really going to dish out too much damage as 5150. Fourth shot, going to be able to finish off Neo with the assistance of some 5 fire damage. Meanwhile, 22MC 2v1 against the 2 solo laners. The Vayne will face off against them both here, MEC. 22MC goes legendary, a truly legendary performance here on the Vayne
What do you mean
top.
both?
A double kill comes through.
It's a triple.
Unbelievable. Pretty much almost pretty much a 1v3 there as the Buckeyes get yet another ace. And that's going to do it here for game number 2. The Buckeyes finish off the Jayhawks in a clean sweep and are feeling good as the MEC continues the push to playoffs. It's coming up soon, MEC. And what a series for the Buckeyes.
It feels good for the Buckeyes. They need to get these wins. They need to continue. They are right now a top 4 team in the MEC, right? If not top 5, right? We looked at the standings earlier. We talked about them. And it feels right now like the Buckeyes are in a good position to try and win the MEC. Now, we've seen them falter against Grandview. We've seen them falter against Purdue Northwest. You can refer to our cast last week when we talked about what the standings actually mean, i.e. if you're below someone, you've lost to them. And if you're above someone, you've won against them. But those standings are still important right now, right? And Ohio State, they want to try and get a win off of someone that they haven't won against yet. There's Purdue Northwest, the Grandview, right? They've won against Ottawa. That's the first step. They need to try and win against these 2 Titans that are the only people that have won the MEC so far.
Yeah, should be fun to see come playoff time. We're going to go into a quick break as we get geared up and ready to go for a post-game interview, Mac. Does that sound?
Yes, sir.
Let's go. Producer/caster MEC wearing a few different hats. So you got a lot of hats in the background. You're able to do it all, my guy. I appreciate you making tonight happen. Don't click out of that browser. We'll be right back to speak with one of the sure to be happy Buckeyes after the sweep. Hello,
Welcome.
everyone, and welcome back to the post game interview. We're in sync today, Mech.
Yep.
We're totally in sync, but maybe more in sync than us, I think, was 5150 and 22MC on the Rift, both flashing together for trying to take down one of the Jayhawks to get the two ADCs flashing in. I think just peak synergy today on the Rift, but overall, thank you 5150 for joining us for the post game interview. We're super excited to have you on.
No problem. No problem. Thank you for inviting me.
So let's start with champion picks. You had told us a little bit in the backstage area that you were excited to not play Varus tonight. So
I'm in jail, man. I swear. Every time I show up to scrims, we show up to like do draft prep. We do talk about the game at all. Enzo's just telling me, Varus, we're just giving you Varus today. Yep. Oh, they didn't ban it. Just give it to Varus. I have
What-
like, I have more champions in my, I have champions in my pockets, but that champion's too good, man. I swear.
it's what happens when you're a Varus OTP and Varus is really in meta.
Yeah, that's
Like,
it's my
this is
own
how it
fault for
works.
putting like 9 billion games on the champion, but
So where I wanted to go with this was in game one, you and 2M2MC were kind of running the Rift on taking towers down. First bit, do you know who won the battle between the two of you on how many towers you took? And
I
number
would
two,
assume. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
oh no, go, please.
Okay, I would assume it was me because I have Ziggs W. Like we talked about after the game, and two of my teammates were like, "Oh yeah, you should do this instead," and me and my coach are like, "No, bro, I'm playing Ziggs. I'm pushing towers. That's all I'm doing this game. You guys don't see me that entire game. I'm just pushing towers. That's all I'm doing." So I would assume it's me because I think I got bot tier 1, mid tier 1, top tier 1, mid tier 2, and then one or two of the like inhib towers, so I would assume it's
Okay.
me, but he got like every other one. So
we made it roughly even here. The Jace with
Yeah.
Demolish was doing work on the towers, I can tell you.
I mean, Timmy on Jace is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. Like, you saw he took like the worst trade imaginable. Like, I wanted to just throw my keyboard out the window when I looked up, and he's starting with like 200 health, and then I just see, oh, top lane solo kill. That's Timmy. He just does that. He'll have the worst conditions imaginable, and it was just solo kill his laner because he's just better than them.
We saw him playing against this Garen, and we were a little unsure. So going into game 2 with the picks, right? You got to play Jhin, which we haven't really seen this season in the MEC. But with that, you were not the only AD carry on your team in that game. There was the Vayne top, which were you guys expecting the Alawi to go mid after the Vayne top was picked? Were you expecting the double flex there?
We kind of did. In the draft, Tim was like, "Oh, just give me Renekton, man. I just want Renekton right now." Because we first picked the Jhin because they banned his Jace, banned my Zig. So I was like, "Okay, just give me Jhin this game. We'll just play to like win the lane." And then Tim wants Renekton, and then they pick Alawi, and then Aiden or mid lane Firefire was like, "Oh my god, man, he's in jail this game because he knows that he has to take the Renekton mid, and then we're having to cover ban him because we want Tim to just have like the best matchup possible, because if you give Tim a good matchup like you saw, he's gonna go 12-1. He's just gonna run the entire game like he did. And we were expecting them to swap, and we talked about it, but then we were like, oh, they might not. But then we just saw like 2 minutes into the game, Alawi's mid as soon as the minion wave crashed, and Aiden's just like head in his hands. He's like, oh my god, man, I have to play against these guys.
we were, so I was watching through the draft screen, right? Like in league. And when Mac and I were watching the website, we saw all these picks go through, and both of us went, so is it Vayne mid or Vayne top? Because I could see Vayne mid into Yone as well, and we were very unsure.
Yeah, we were debating like, or we were like pretty sure we wanted Timmy on Vayne because I don't think Aiden plays Vayne. But he does have some good picks. But we were talking about like swapping them back and forth, and then they're just gonna have to like dance the whole time between the lanes. Like, now that lane swaps have been killed, because that was the only problem. If lane swaps were not killed in the game, Timmy's probably not picking Vayne this game. But we knew like, oh, can't lane swap anymore. They're just gonna dance between the lanes. This is old league. This is an OG. This is what we like to see. And obviously it worked out fine. I mean, the matchup's basically the same. You have ranged Vayne into melee that requires to like actually hit one skill shot to do damage. She misses it, like she dodges it, it's fine. She just win the lane. So
yeah. Well, 5150, talk to me a little bit about coming into the MEC, y'all's first season coming in. How are you feeling? Playoffs on the horizon, coming soon. I believe it is a double elim bracket, but overall, how are you guys feeling headed into a big bracket to hopefully fight your way to a potential top 32 spot?
I mean, we feel pretty good. It's been interesting playing because like our roster's gone through like a couple changes. Like initially we had Tim, our top laner, was playing support with me in the bot lane. And then we swapped him in Cyborg. And then we're also running like a double 80 carry roster. We had 2 junglers for a while. And now I think we're switching that as well. It's just a bunch of stuff going on. But overall, we feel like we're improving a lot. I know that we're improving. Me and Jason, the other bot laner, are like talking with each other a lot. We feel really good. We're confident. We did the only other 2 teams in like conference that we even like care about, obviously, is GVU and then PNW. We knew that those are the only teams that were gonna like maybe give us trouble at all. And like, sure, we did get like O2'd by them, but I think the games are like definitely closer than the score makes it look. And I know that if we keep improving, then like maybe it won't be a 2-0 next time. Maybe it will be a 2-0, but in our favor, you know, we're improving. So
we'll see.
I think we're all pretty confident, and we feel good about it. So yeah, we're definitely ready to play.
100%.
I don't know if you leaked it or what you're saying, but you just talked about that you may be switching junglers back to Miller. Can you expand on that at all? Because I remember I casted you guys with Yanni in the fall showdown where you guys played with VCU and Penn State, or tried to play with them too, but forfeited half your games. No shade thrown at all. But with that, right, like you played with Miller completely through that. You joined MEC, and all I've seen so far is Haniaga. So what's been the split of duties there, and what's going on there?
I don't know like too much. Obviously, I'm an 80 carry, so I have an 80 carry brain, which basically means that I don't think. I just look my minions, I hit my minions, and then like in team fights, I press my buttons and right click, I'm good. So I don't know. I don't need to know. Like people don't like super communicate with me, which is fine. Uh, all I know is like today I showed up, H- Haniaga's not there, Wilson's there, Miller. Like I love him. We go to the gym together sometimes. We hang out. We have fun. So I'm excited to play with both of them. I'm good friends with both of them. All I know is like that he was there today, and that's pretty much it.
All right,
Like
all
people don't
right.
talk to me.
Talk to me a little bit about I feel like the Ohio State camaraderie with the whole team. I feel like not a lot of schools are able to field as many players as you guys are. So talk to me a little bit about how you guys make that work. A little bit of the Buckeye magic with you and Ruler, Haniagra and Miller, Cyborg and 22MC being willing to lane swap, and you guys just like testing a lot of different stuff and being all okay with it. What kind of goes into that?
Yeah. So last year we had two rasters, right? We had a
Mm-hmm.
varsity raster, which is the Scarlet raster, and then the gray raster. We
Mm-hmm.
didn't have like enough good talent that we felt to like field two rosters yesterday. So we wanted to focus on one and just take like
Mm-hmm.
pull all the talent together and then get the best roster that we could, which is why we have two junglers, two 80 carries. We're role
Yeah.
swapping like different
Yeah.
people. Because 2M2MC and me play and Haniagra, we all played on the gray roster together last year. And then this year we
Mm-hmm.
took that step up that some people graduated and we're
Yeah.
like filling their shoes now. And
Mm-hmm.
we just all really like love the game and we love to be
Yeah.
competitive and play, so we're pretty much all willing to do whatever it takes to do that, and that includes like running two junglers, running two 80 carries. And I'll be honest, I did not like this guy Jason Ruler, at the beginning of the year. I'm like, I have to split time with this guy. Like, just let me play, bro. Just let me play. But I mean, we've talked and we're good friends now. And, I've talked a lot with my coach, and it does make us, like, overall, it does make us a better team, makes us better players. So I think I've learned to love it now. But I'm very
Yeah.
competitive myself. So I was like, I don't want to have to split time. Come on.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I appreciate hearing about that.
All right. Is there anything that you'd like to shout out to the people at home, to the fans watching at home? There's been tons of people watching in chat, including someone, specifically your coach, saying to get a haircut. You have
Yeah,
any
no,
statements
he's
to say
right.
to
He's right.
those people?
He I want to shout out my coach. I want to shout out my girlfriend. I want to shout out my mom and my dad, who all say I need to get a haircut, which is true. I do need to get a haircut, but I'm too lazy to get a haircut. And I will when summer comes around, because it's gonna be way too hot with all this hair.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
other than that, yeah, shout out my parents for being very supportive. Which is what I do send the stream links to my dad, but he knows
Yeah.
nothing about games. So he's like, you know what? I'm cheering for you, but I'm not gonna watch this because I have no idea what's going on. But good luck. I know you'll do great. So shout out to them. Obviously, my teammates, great, lovely people, except OSU Cyborg, not a lovely person, terrible person. But no, I love him too. But yeah, everyone, we got a good system. So I shout out to everyone in that, and shout out my manager too for finding us good scrims and keeping everyone on track with like when we have matches.
There we go.
Incredible. It's the little things.
All right. Well, thank you very much tonight, 5150, for the interview. We're going to call it there for the stream tonight. So thank you very much for joining us.
All right, thank you guys for having me. You guys have a good night.
You too. And it's just us left now, Mac.
Wow. Another Monday night with Mac and Mech in the books. Y'all may have seen a few times. There it is right there. I gotta learn my directions a little bit. But Alex's Lemonade Stand, that little yellow square with a big impact. Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation emerged from the front yard of just a lemonade stand. Alexandra Alex Scott, at 4 years old, who is fighting childhood cancer. By the time she unfortunately passed away, she had raised $1 million in the fight against childhood cancer. Now, the foundation has evolved into a worldwide fundraising movement that we here at Unified are extremely happy to support. Well, hopefully, Mech, are you able to post the link in chat? I know Alan usually does
I
it.
can't.
We don't have the
They didn't
link.
give me mod permissions. I can't paste links.
We have, if you're in the Discord, I'm sure we have there's a Tiltify link that we're using to try and send support their way. Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation is a leader in funding pediatric research projects across the globe and providing programs to families affected by childhood cancer. We're hoping to spread awareness and, send our love to just what is an awesome foundation. And so when you see that yellow square, the yellow stand sign of Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation, please do consider checking out the foundation's website to learn more, potentially donate, and try to end childhood cancer forever. So but overall, that is our show for tonight. Wishing everyone good vibes and another happy St. Patrick's Day. Mech, I may be coming over to pinch you for not wearing green on the stream, but overall, we appreciate everyone coming out to the show. Tune in, I believe. Go ahead.
I wanted to shout out our normal producer, Alan, because he does a thankless job normally, and he's not feeling well, and he's probably not watching. But I want to shout Alan out because, he's not feeling well.
We missed him tonight. But we made it work. Shout out Alan. I believe Rocket League tomorrow. Maybe
it should be Rocket League tomorrow.
Should be Rocket League tomorrow. Huge. And then we will be back on Wednesday for more MEC CLOL action alongside the Smash Bros crew. And then after that, we'll end the week, I believe, with more Rocket League and more Valorant, which will be just Valorant.
Great Valorant.
Incredible. We'll make that work absolutely here. Thank you everyone for coming out to support the Midwest Esports Conference and collegiate esports in general. We hope everyone has a good night, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for the next show.
Alex's Lemonade Stand was founded by my daughter Alex in our front yard when she was 4 years old. She decided she would have a lemonade stand, but instead of keeping the money, she would give it to her doctors so they could help kids like her. And she was able to reach her $1 million goal. She passed away 2 weeks later. She was 8.5.